Today I'm using my February Spellbinders Hot Foil Kit of the Month. We're going to make a long border. We're going to use ordinary dies to add some embellishing, as well as the reverse foiling technique, all while I make a scrapbook layout. Hello everybody, welcome to Crafty Soup. My name is Misty, where I create with paper and photos in artful ways. Alright, here is my Glimmer Hot Foil kit for this month. It usually involves some kind of background die with a couple of sentiments, and that is indeed going to be the case again this time around. And it includes a roll of foil. So there we go. We've got purple this month. So as soon as I see the purple, I have a scrapbook layout in mind. So that's where I'm going to go with this project. Even though I wanted to do more card making, I really want to see how I can stretch these supplies outside of their intended use. All right, I'm looking over what's all included. There's 4 sentiments in here, as well as that leafy background. And there's 2 dies to cut out these larger sentiments as I give you a kind of a close look at what those sentiments look like. And then there's a border die that goes around the edge of that kind of drapey, leafy pattern. So I want to create a border with this leafy pattern, and I want to do a tone-on-tone foiling. So I pull out some lavender cardstock, which is my middle kid's favorite color, and they don't live at home anymore. They just turned 23 and sent me some of their birthday pictures. So not only am I stretching these card making supplies into scrapbook layouts, but I'm also stretching the theme from spring into winter because, as you'll see, there's some snowy pictures for the birthday. All right, I am finding the center point of this die so that I can get a good balanced look when I foil across the entire length of this border. I am using this hinge technique, which I've been looking up techniques and things because I've been struggling with hot foiling, and so I'm trying to get better. And this hinge technique is definitely one that helps. So I open up my hinge, I put my foil ugly side down because that's the side that sticks, and then I can close that hinge onto my foil. And when I run it through my machine, I pause here for a second because I realized after filming this that you see how I have the cardstock sticking off the left side of the machine? That created a crease there that you can see, and I've realized that I can set my hot foil plate closer to the handle all the way at the end of that part of the hot plate and let my cardstock hang off the handle end of the plate, and then that top plate will not create a crease in it when it runs through the die cut machine. All right, coming back to this hinge technique, part of what this is really good for is if you don't get a good first foiling, which I did not get here, and I'm learning that my machine needs to be a little bit hotter. Now, I just closed that hinge back in place, reheated it, and ran it back through the die cut machine, and then I got a good impression. So I'm learning the quirk of my machine and what I need to do to get good impressions. So I finished foiling my entire border. I cut out that edge with the included matching die, but because the border edges don't line up exactly, I do have to come in with some scissors and trim where there's kind of some awkward gap between where one die cut ends and the next begins. And that leaves a little bit of excess cardstock in there, so I'm just going to trim out some of it. You don't have to do that part. It would be fine if you just left it, but I went ahead and did that. Let's move on to hot foiling with regular dies. Now, you have to have a good die for this. You don't want a die like this that's a really simple shape. You want to have some details in your die because it's going to be a very light impression, because dies have thin blades for cutting and hot foil plates have thicker flat surfaces for pressing into the foil. So these thin cutting blades will press in and make foil, but they're gonna be thin. All right, I have punched some circles because I'm gonna make some embellishments. I have chosen my dies carefully that have more detail in the shape of the die, especially since I want to get a snowflake shape and not just some squiggly outline border shape. And then I went ahead and ran it through my machine. It worked okay. I did get some excess foiling there, and here's some tips to get it off. Try just a regular eraser, and then if that doesn't work, try a sand eraser. If you have excess hot foiling over your words and images, you want to be careful with erasers though, because it can dull the shine on your foil. All right, let's turn to reverse foiling, and we'll do this one a little bit more, but you can use a solid hot plate, which is what I'm going to do right now, and take your scraps of foil, put them on the hot plate, put a piece of paper down, and go ahead and run it through. And that solid plate will give you the shape of whatever excess foil you have left over. And then you can use these. If I had my foil big enough to match the whole foil plate, it could have been a whole diamond, but I didn't. So I just punched out some embellishments. So the reverse hot foil technique lets you get lots of use over your leftover foil, and it doesn't go to waste. All right, I have all of my parts and pieces here ready for doing my layout. I've got my glimmer foiled border. I've got some embellishments. I'm going to alter these spring phrase sayings into something that can work for this wintry layout that I'm doing. And then we'll just put it together really quick and I'll show you everything. So like I said, I'm doing a monochromatic layout. So I pulled out a second shade of cardstock to put everything on. I did my title on my printer on photo paper, so it looks like a third photo in this row with all of my other photos there. So that is my layout for this time around. Off camera, I did redo my border of leafy foiling just because I had made those mistakes and I wanted to go ahead and practice the correct methods to get the results I wanted and fix my mistakes. So that wraps up today's video. I want to say thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, I hope you have an artful day.